Now, the news. We'll start this week off with some handguns. Rossi, most well known for being a budget brand, has a new rimfire offering called the RS-22 in pistol format. There are two versions on launch, one with a Strike Industries FSA brace out back and then one without that. Both come with a 6-inch threaded barrel, 10-round stick mags, a chassis with a small pick rail out front for, I guess, like a bipod or something. I don't know what you want to put out there, ATF. And a pick rail on the back for a brace or other things. There's also a pick rail on top of the receiver for an optic. It looks like a decent little setup here. I don't really know. I've never shot one. MSRP on the non-brace version is $190. That's cheap. And with the brace, it's $400. That's a $210 difference, even though the brace sells for $170. Think Rossi got screwed on that pricing? I don't know. Either way, I find rimfire guns to be a lot of fun if and only if they run well and are accurate. Oftentimes, budget 22s are flat out junk and are very, very picky on ammo. And that's a big hell no for me, dog. I also want to point out that the Ruger Charger pistol with a pick rail on the back has an MSRP of $440 for comparison. It comes with a 15-round mag and no brace. What do you guys think of budget 22s? Are they worth it? Are you going to roll the dice? Do you typically spend a few more dollars to get something known for being reliable? Sound off in the comments and let us know. Welcome back to another episode of the Gun Collective News. I am John Patton. Hello. Welcome. It's great to have you here. We're trying to get this channel on YouTube to hit 500,000 subscribers. We're on the way to that. We are on an upward trajectory. So please do me a favor, get subscribed. It would be incredible to have your support and have you be a part of this community. We're great. We love you. Welcome in. Come watch this all the time. I'm rambling now. Moving on. In some other rimfire pistol news, Volquartsen has brought back one of their older designs, and it's called the Stingray, and it looks like something kind of out of Star Wars, that sort of thing. Steampunky. The gun is based on the Ruger Mark IV 2245 and has a 6-inch lightweight threaded barrel made from a stainless steel core wrapped in aluminum and then sort of fluted, slotted for heat dissipation. There's also a comp on the end that moves everything forward, controls recoil. Beyond that, you have a churched up Ruger Mark IV frame and a competition bolt from Volquartsen themselves. This carries an MSRP of $14.95. I know some of you folks are going to get upset by expensive rimfire guns and be like, no, John, I don't want that. But if you are going to buy a fancy 22 pistol, Volquartsen is one of the better options for that. And I looked to see if you could get something like this straight from Ruger, and they don't currently offer a direct competitor to this gun. They're all shorter barrel, kind of different setups. So you can't really go buy anything else quite like this. That's neat. Beretta is back in the news this week with yet another new version of their 90 series pistols. This is the 92X Performance Defensive Classic, and it is the 42nd different model that they are currently producing, which is just effing bonkers. Why? The things that make this one marginally different than the other models is that this was specifically designed for use in IDPA competition. It has a nickel-plated slide and frame, a stainless steel barrel, along with an optic-ready slide, Extreme S trigger, whatever that is, and a fiber optic front sight with an adjustable rear. And, of course, those classic walnut grips. It does look very nice. It's a classic-looking 92, if you ask me. MSRP is $1,700, which is near the top of the pricing for any of their 90 series guns. Now, let's switch it up to some new long guns, shall we? Shall we? We've got a lot more ground to cover, so I'm going to keep these next few a little bit speedier. Chiappa has a new version of their 86 called the Wildlands Takedown Angle Ejection. Yes, that's what it's actually called. What a terrible name. This is a 4570 with a 16-inch threaded barrel, hell yeah, M-LOK handguard, great, skeletonized stock, okay, and it's a takedown version, which means it comes apart in the middle to fit better in a backpack, and the MSRP is $2,013. I can't think, and I couldn't find anyone else doing a takedown 4570 like this, so that's pretty cool. Springfield has a bunch of new versions of their Saint rifles under the V2 moniker. 14 new rifle variants and 2 new pistol versions. Honestly, These look pretty solid to me. They have forged receivers, nitrided barrels that have a tapered contour, which they say helps with accuracy. It's got ambi safeties across the board, flip-up iron sights, B5 stock and grip, and it's just a really well-rounded offering. MSRPs range from $1249 to $1279 on the AR-15s and $1649 to $1689 for the AR-10 versions. I would personally call these like a really good like mid-tier offering, and with Aero Precision starting to circle the drain, that's great. Love to see that. Kel-Tec has a new shotgun for us this week. It's the Gen 2 of the KS7. The changes here come in the form of a pick rail on top instead of the Gen 1's carry handle sighting system, and the handguard is slightly changed with a pick rail to mount a vertical grip. Otherwise, it's still a 7+1 capacity bullpup pump action shotgun in 12 gauge. MSRP here is $639, and I kind of wish they did more to make it a Gen 2 besides some sort of quality of life upgrades, but it's still pretty affordable and compact, which I believe was their goal to start. I'm curious how many of you guys are actually still relying on shotguns for home defense. There was a time when that was like the only answer. When I got started in the gun industry, people were still, you got to let them know, blah, 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 12 gauge shotgun, shotgun, shotgun. But now I think a lot more people are looking at rifles and handguns than ever before. So let's hear it sound off in the comments. And while you're typing that out, we're going to hear a word from this week's sponsor, Wooks. Wooks offers everything from rifle chassis to furniture for your 12 gauge, all with a big helping of beautifully finished, ultra stylish wood. They just released this new Super Leggera, aka Super Light stock for your Remington 700, Howa 1500, Tikka T3, and more. I'm planning to use it as the base for a lightweight long action hunting rifle. Thanks again to Wooks for supporting the Gun Collective. Let's keep it rolling with this week's Friendly Fire questions. If you want to ask me a question, slam it down in the comments with the words Friendly Fire so that I can go back and find it. That is very helpful. I say that all the time, but holy shit, it's very helpful. We've got a few again this week. I enjoy doing that. First is from Dan Doctor, and he says, why do you think 30 Super Carry flopped? The first problem is that no one made guns for that caliber on launch. There was like one or two options. It was the Shield, and I think Wilson Combat was supposed to make one, but I never actually saw one. I think that's who it was. On top of that, ammo wasn't readily available or affordable, and as a cartridge, it didn't really offer the consumer enough to take it over from the King, which was 9mm. It still is 9mm. Derek H. says, am I the only one who tries to keep my guns to only a few calibers to make stocking ammo easier? Then he goes on to say he stocks like 9 calibers, which isn't necessarily a few. And the answer is no, you're not alone in that at all. I feel like lots of people do that to keep it simple. At one point, I tried to do that, but my career path necessitated otherwise. I definitely think it's a reasonable way to keep things simple. Surfer Joe says, what scope would you put on a 20-inch 6.5 Creedmoor for hunting? There isn't really a single good option. There's a lot of really good optics out there right now. I would say get good glass that works really well in low light and has a more simplified reticle. If it's too busy, like a Christmas tree reticle, you may get lost in the reticle before you make the shot on the target. Sure, you can absolutely use one of those if you wanted to, but I think keeping it simple is better. I'd consider Gideon on the budget side of things, but you could also spend more on like Bushnell, Burris, Leupold, Night Force, all that kind of stuff, and I'm missing a bunch, I know. There are way more options. Vortex comes to mind, and you have tons of choices, so get out there and start researching. Let us know what you end up deciding. Come back and let us know in the comments. My friendly fire question to you guys. Last week, I said, which channels do you trust the most? And you guys came out in full force and told me. This week, I want to know what makes you not trust a gun channel. You don't need to name names, but tell me why you don't trust channels. You know the drill. Answers below. Try to be specific so we can all learn something, and I think I might make a video out of that. I think that's a pretty cool thing to talk about why you guys may not trust them. And in gun industry news, the NICS numbers, National Instant Check System, are in for July and August, and they're not good. They're not. The whole industry's on the struggle bus. You know what? Izzy hit it. In July, we did only 6,000 over 2 million checks. And for the first time since July of 2018, we dropped below 2 million checks for the month of August 2025. We actually did 1.8 million. That is over 400,000 down from last year. Boys and girls, The gun industry is going to continue feeling this. I've heard rumors of companies like Kimber and Mossberg potentially being up for sale. I haven't been able to get proof of that, but if it's true, that's not great. And there's probably other companies that are in that same boat if it's true. And many other companies are just struggling across the board. With the suppressor thing sort of looming in the background and that segment of the industry stagnating right now as well, I don't know, the whole industry is hurting. As always, the background checks numbers are a trend indicator and not a one-for-one on guns sold, but the trend is downward. That's clear. I suspect the economy, along with crazy inflation and lack of interesting affordable guns, has consumers just flat out holding back. And speaking of affordable stuff, our deal of the week is a limited time thing. Optics Planet has a smoking deal for you guys this week. It's the best deal on the internet for the Athlon Rangecraft chronograph, one of those little tiny ones. These things are really popular right now, and OP has them normally for $3.99. But for you guys, we got them to knock off even more to like, I think, with the code TGC10. That's over 27% off MSRP, over 130 bucks off. And to my knowledge, that's absolutely the best deal on the internet for these things. So if you are considering getting one, and you should have a chronograph, now's the time. Again, the code is TGC10 at Optics Planet. It'll work on other stuff too, but this is the best deal for you guys. Also, in case you